Welcome to another pen on paper series on permutation. Now in today's class we'll be looking at cyclic permutation. Now what is cyclic permutation? Now cyclic permutation is talking about the circle-like part, permutation, as just the name sounds. Now n different objects can be arranged in circle or round table in n-1 different ways. It means if I want to arrange n different objects around the table, mathematically, I will express it as what? As this. Now, for this second statement, we have that what? If the objects are fixed in a ring, which can be turned over, the number of arrangements here is what? n-1 factorial all over 2. Now, just for our ring, or just like our ring, we have our ring to be circle-like in nature, but facing two different what? Positions, facing two different ways. Now, and that continues the chain of what a ring relatively is. Okay, moving on. Example 1. In how many ways can 8 men be seated at a round table if two particular men refuse to sit together? In how many ways can 8 men be seated at a round table? Now, first, that statement is similar to what I first read, my first statement here. In how many ways can 8 men be seated at a round table? It becomes what? n-1 factorial. Now, where my n here represents what? The total number of men sitting at a round table, that's 8 minus 1 factorial. Now, this becomes what? 7 factorial. Now, if this represents this first statement, and now said if 2 men refuse to sit together, what will my permutation look like? Now, after the circle or the cyclic permutation, let's say I'm going to represent this. 2 particular men refuse to sit together. It becomes this. Assuming they decide to sit together, what will it be? It becomes these 2 men times 8 minus 2 factorial. That is, since they're sitting around the table and we're looking at permutation relatively, so we're going to have that what? 8 minus 2 of them times the 2 of them if they decide to sit together. Now, but since they decide not to sit together, that of the round table minus this, because they decide to refuse to sit together in that case then. So that is, I'm going to have something like 7 factorial minus 2 times what? 8 minus 2 factorial. Now, this becomes what? 7 factorial minus 2 times what? 6 factorial. Okay? That's this minus relatively represents the refusal. So if they decide to sit together, this will be my expression. That's 2 times 8 minus 2 factorial. So, but since they refused, I'm going to be subtracting their acceptance from the round table. That becomes refusal in that case then. So, now that becomes 7 factorial minus 2 times 6 factorial is 720. 5 factorial is 120. 6 factorial is 720. So, on multiplying and on solving, your answer should give you 3,600. So, this is my solution. Number 2 question says, a family of 7 is to be seated at around the table. In how many ways can this be done if the father and mother are to sit together? Okay, so we have 2 entities here, and they are to sit together relatively. So, in how many ways can a family of 7 be seated at a round table? First becomes 7 minus 1 factorial, which is what? 6 factorial. Now, if the two of them decide to sit together, that becomes what? 2 of them times what? 6 factorial, 7 minus 2 factorial, just as I did up here. So we have 2, which is the two of them, father and mother, times 7, which is the total number of them, minus father and mother, factorial relatively. Now that becomes what? 2 times 5 factorial. And 2 times 5 factorial becomes 2 times 5 factorial here is what? 120. And multiplying, your answer should be 240. So this is the number of ways they can sit together. So that's 240 ways. Okay, so this also, that's 3,600 ways. Now, moving on. 5 persons are to have dinner jointly. In how many ways can they sit in a ring? Now, this is different from a circle. because the circle is just relatively one. A ring is like two circles, joined in different directions. Now, in how many ways can they sit in a ring? We have 5 persons. In a ring becomes -1 in a cycle first, then over what? Over 2, because we have 2 circles, and so. And that becomes 4 factorial over what? Over 2. Remember, 4 factorial is the same thing as 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over, this is ordinary 2. This cancels this. My answer is what? 12 ways. And that's the solution to this question.